For months, the public had wondered whether the whispers circling this family were exaggerated or dangerously close to the truth. For viewers just joining us, tonight we're examining the unexpected announcement made by the mother of the nation's most widely followed conjoined twins, a pair whose journey has been documented since infancy. While the family has often stayed out of the spotlight, online chatter about them never truly disappeared. Over the past year, speculation intensified as clips from public events appeared to show tension within the household. Comment sections started filling with theories, ranging from concerns about medical decisions to questions about changes in the family's living situation. Although most assumed the rumors were the usual noise that follows any family with public attention, something felt different this time. The tone of the discussion shifted, the posts grew more persistent, and analysts noted a sudden spike in interest across social platforms. Yet through all of it, the mother remained silent until now. Her recent statement has not only confirmed that the speculation wasn't entirely baseless, but also raised questions about what the family has been dealing with behind closed doors. And as we look deeper into her announcement, it becomes clear that this revelation is only the beginning of a much larger story. What began as small comments under unrelated videos suddenly escalated into a full-scale online investigation. Reporters tracking digital trends noticed something unusual months before the mother came forward. Posts from anonymous accounts claimed that the family was dealing with a major internal struggle, something significant enough to have affected their daily routines. Others insisted that decisions about the twins' future were becoming more urgent and more complicated. While none of these claims could be verified, the volume of speculation quickly pushed the family into the center of public debate. As reaction channels stitched together old interviews, the narrative began shifting from curiosity to concern. Audiences questioned if the mother had been withholding information, while others argued that the family deserved privacy. Even so, the surge was impossible to ignore. Hashtags tied to the twins trended multiple times, turning personal speculation into a near-constant public conversation. The absence of any official clarification only added fuel to the fire. By the time analysts reviewed the data, they found thousands of posts circulating theories, some harmless, others far more alarming. But despite the public's urgency for answers, the family remained silent until the moment everything changed. In a calm voice and a short statement, she delivered the single sentence that no one expected. "Yes, some of what you've heard is true." The mother's statement, released early yesterday morning, was concise but powerful. She didn't expand on specifics, nor did she address each rumor directly. Instead, she acknowledged that the family had been quietly managing a difficult situation behind the scenes, and that the public speculation was not entirely inaccurate. Her phrasing was deliberate, careful, and measured, enough to confirm the existence of a problem, yet not enough to expose sensitive details. For many viewers, this confirmation validated months of discussion. For others, it raised even more questions. Broadcast outlets immediately began breaking down her choice of words, searching for context or clues. Analysts described her delivery as emotionally heavy, as though the truth had weighed on her for far longer than anyone realized. The family, known for maintaining privacy and avoiding dramatic public statements, appeared to have reached a point where silence was no longer possible. And although she didn't specify which rumor she was referring to, one thing became clear: the issue was far more serious than the public had assumed. Her admission has now sparked a wave of concern and an urgent desire to understand what comes next. Sometimes silence reveals more than any statement, and in this case, the unspoken details paint a far more complicated picture. While the mother confirmed that some circulating claims held truth, she avoided mentioning anything about their nature. This omission led experts to believe the situation involves complex emotional or logistical decisions that the family is still navigating. The lack of detail left room for interpretation, but also strongly suggested that the underlying issue was delicate. Observers familiar with the family's journey noted subtle shifts in their recent public appearances, shorter outings, fewer interviews, and expressions that hinted at fatigue rather than confidence. Supporters online expressed sympathy, while critics questioned why the family waited so long to speak up. But as analysts remind viewers, families dealing with sensitive matters must balance public interest against personal well-being. In this case, the mother's choice to confirm the rumors without exposing specifics demonstrates that the situation is still evolving. Professionals who understand complex medical or family planning decisions indicated that her tone suggested caution, not crisis. Still, the lack of clarity raises an important question. What exactly prompted the statement now, after months of silence? And what challenges are the family preparing to face next? Sources close to the family describe the atmosphere not as chaotic, but as something far more fragile. Although the mother declined to elaborate on the verified rumors, individuals familiar with the family's environment have indicated that recent months have been marked by difficult conversations. These were not dramatic confrontations or urgent emergencies, but rather long-term challenges that require careful planning. The twins, now growing older, face new milestones that come with increased public interest and higher expectations. Their mother is reportedly managing advocacy responsibilities, educational decisions, and emotional support, all while shielding them from online speculation. Professionals who have worked with families of conjoined siblings emphasize how even normal choices can become unusually complex. The combination of media attention and private responsibilities may have placed significant pressure on the household. Viewers should note that while curiosity is natural, the family's internal decisions remain personal, and the mother's confirmation does not imply wrongdoing or crisis. Instead, her statement seems to reflect a desire to protect her children from misinformation while acknowledging the reality of their circumstances. And as this story develops, the most pressing question is not about the rumor itself, but how the family will navigate the heightened attention now surrounding them. Within minutes of the announcement, social feeds exploded with reactions ranging from sympathy to shock. Audience reactions to the mother's confirmation have been deeply divided. Many expressed support, applauding her transparency under difficult circumstances. Others speculated further, interpreting the brief statement as the beginning of a longer unfolding situation. Analysts monitoring viewer sentiment noticed an interesting trend. Unlike previous waves of speculation driven by sensationalism, this time the majority of comments focused on concern for the family's well-being. Influencers urged viewers to avoid jumping to conclusions, while experts emphasized the importance of respecting privacy. However, some viewers demanded more details, questioning whether the family would eventually clarify the full context. Public relations professionals warn that once a statement confirms even part of a rumor, audiences expect follow-ups, and managing those expectations will require careful communication. Meanwhile, supporters have organized digital groups encouraging empathy and responsible discussion, signaling a shift from casual commentary to structured advocacy. The sheer volume of responses highlights just how emotionally invested the public has become. And with every new share, repost, and analysis segment, it's increasingly clear that this story is far from over. If the mother's goal was to quiet the rumors, her statement may have done the opposite. As this situation continues to evolve, the mother's confirmation stands as a pivotal moment in the public narrative surrounding the twins. It signaled transparency, but also hinted at deeper complexities still undisclosed. Analysts predict that the family may need to issue follow-up statements, not to satisfy public curiosity, but to regain control of the conversation surrounding their lives. The key question now centers on balance. How can they maintain privacy while addressing heightened interest? Experts agree that the next steps will involve careful management of both public expectations and internal decisions. Meanwhile, audiences are left with a mixture of empathy, curiosity, and concern. What we know is simple. The rumors were not entirely baseless. The family is navigating a sensitive issue, and the mother chose this moment to speak because silence was no longer serving them. What remains unknown may stay that way, and perhaps it should. As we continue monitoring this developing story, one thing is certain: the impact of her statement will shape public perception for a long time, and viewers everywhere are asking the same question: what comes next?